Welcome to the Sell for Millions show. In today's episode, we're going to talk about setting up your business, setting it up correctly, and if you follow these steps, it'll take away a lot of the indecisiveness of how you should set it up, and you'll be set up for tax purposes and accounting purposes. So sit back, take notes, and listen to setting up your business correctly. And basically there's about 10 steps, or there's 10 steps here. And again, follow these in order. And it's all part of the learning process. And the first time you do it, it can be a little bit intimidating, a little bit difficult. But what I'll teach you here, it'll be done, it'll be set up correctly for you. And follow all these in order as well. So a lot of times people, when they start their first business, when they set up their first company, you have to make that shift between an employee where somebody's taking care of the taxes, someone's taking care of the accounting. Basically, you get a check and you keep what's left over. When you own a business, it's a little bit different, and we'll go through that here. We're going to talk about the types of entities to consider, and you'll see here these are all the different types of entities. What we're going to talk about today is an LLC, which is the easiest way to set up. And the benefits of an LLC, you limit your personal liability. So again, what you want to be able to do, and I'll talk about it later, is have that difference and keep a barrier. You want to look at your company and your business as a totally separate entity from you. And it'll have pass-through taxation. What that means is when you file your tax return at the end of the year, the money you make, the profit, will just go to your bottom line in your personal tax return. And then there's a lot less paperwork and a lot less formalities with an LLC, which is why we typically recommend that. So let's talk about how money flows. When you're an employee, you make your money, the taxes come out, and you keep what's left over. A lot of people, the first time they get their paycheck, they're thinking, it's $100 and you get 75 of it or whatever. They're like, hey, what happened to the rest of that money? So all that's taken care of for you. When you're a business owner, it kind of works the opposite way. You have your income, then you have your expenses, and then you have your taxes. So keeping track of your legitimate business expenses is important. It's going to save you a lot of money. And if you follow these steps, that'll already be in place for you, and you won't be surprised at the end of the year. So you must keep accurate records. And legitimate business expenses, depending on what kind of company or business you have, phone, internet, any kind of tools, software, things you need to do, any kind of equipment. Like for instance, I'm speaking into a camera. That was a business expense for me, paid for it out of my company, and anything auto related. So get used to keeping a log. I use an app called Miles IQ, which basically keeps track of everywhere I go, and I can kind of swipe right or left if it's a business expense or personal. At the end of the month, it just makes it a lot easier to track. So first thing you want to do is pick the state where you're going to be doing business. We're going to talk about Wisconsin here because I'm in Wisconsin. Most of the time you do want it to be where you're doing business. There are people that will use Delaware or Las Vegas or Nevada or other states, but we'll just talk about that. Choosing the name of your LLC. So the way I recommend people starting it is, pick the name of your company, see if the URL, go on GoDaddy or whatever, check and see if that name is available, and kind of line it up that way. And think about the people that you're going to serve, all those things. If the URL is available, then you need to do a search to make sure you're not violating any kind of trademark, and be able to register your company under that name. So it is important to spend some time and effort on it. The next thing you do is you file the articles of organization. The nice thing is it sounds really difficult to do, but it's very simple. Basically, you complete all the information online. Again, in Wisconsin, we just go to our Department of Revenue, fill out your information, and the articles are already formed for you. You print them off, you keep them, and it's very important to keep that. You're going to need it later for a number of different reasons. Next, you want to prepare the operating agreement. If you have partners, now if it's just you, it's pretty simple to do. You still want to have some sort of an operating agreement. Your bank or other people might ask for it. You can basically look online, download it, something. But if you have partners, if you have a partner, Do not skip this step. You want to talk about how money is distributed, how money is invested, how it's divided up, who does what. And, everybody's excited when they start a business, when they have a partner, and you think things are going to go great. But you also got to plan for maybe things not going so well, and, might have to add more cash to the business or whatever. Next step is obtaining the EIN, or employer identification number. Easiest way to think about this, you have a social security number that stays with you your whole life, and your business will have a separate identification number that will stay with that entity forever. It's very simple to form. You go on irs.gov, fill out your information. You're going to need your articles and all those things, and you'll immediately get a EIN that will identify your business. And depending on the nature of your business, you want to check and see if you need any kind of local license, anything you need to do with sales tax. If you're doing a bar or restaurant, you might need a liquor license, all those types of things. So you want to check into that. Next step, and this is the fun part, you get to set up a bank account. So you take all that information, the IRS information with the EIN, your operating agreement, you basically go to a bank and you'll be able to set up a bank account with your business name and separate identity with that. And then what you want to do is fund that bank account with, you write yourself a check and deposit with some, put in a little bit, because you're going to want to start running all your business expenses, your phone, your internet, all those things through that account. So you're going to want to have a little bit of capital in there to start paying for those things right away. Next step, and this is an important one, set up your accounting software right from day one, whether it's QuickBooks or Wave or FreshBooks. There's a number of them out there. It will save you an absolute pile of time and effort. You just link it, it'll download your statements, it'll download all the activity in that account. You'll be able to reconcile it very easily. If you have any kind of receipt type activity, a lot of times you can I'm not familiar with all the software packages. I use QuickBooks, so I quickly take a picture, I can upload it into the package. When it reconciles, it's all there for me. So it's really a nice process instead of having just a shoebox full of receipts or something for you. So set that up right away and start with those with that process. Now, how do you pay yourself? Again, this is a separate entity, right? So if people write out the check to your business, so how do you draw money out? Again, it's completely separate from you. You just write a check to yourself, whatever your name is, and you record it as a business expense, as your owner's compensation or contractor, whatever you want to call yourself, to track that. And then again, in your business entity, that will come off as an expense for you. And then you want to keep current with any kind of required filings. Typically, once a year, you have to fill out a form that basically updates your information, keeps your entity current, and typically it's kind of like registering your car. Every year you got to pay a fee. It's the same thing for your business. If you've had any changes of address, any of that kind of stuff, and then you send in some money and it's taken care of for you. In closing, follow these steps in order. Do it right the first time. It is very simple if you know what you're doing, and this is the exact process that you can use to get it set up correctly, and also will save you a ton of time and effort when you need to do your taxes and your reporting and all that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you in the next lesson.